I just have myself a little drink.
Is it? Hey, you brought the cola. Of course you did.
Did you go to the shop especially for that?
Glass of Coca-Cola.
A refreshing glass of full fat, full sugar, Coca-Cola. Oh, you did it all wrong there. You need to have the label showing at all times. You need to turn your head when you drink, even when you're drinking. Did you go to the shop especially to get that, or did you have it in the house, Ed?
I fancy a little snack as well. I just
Oh my God! You're lucky. Unfortunately, this is not a video podcast. Otherwise, we will clearly see you having all.
Well, you are recording it, so
do you have a Big Mac?
No.
Damn it!
You could really go for a Big Mac right about now.
Oh my God! You want to just come over and have a Big Mac? Fuck off! Just
or a Little Mac.
Oh, a Little Mac. Oh.
You are about to experience trash cinema.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Trash Tapes. And one man's trash is another man's treasure. I am Johan Shipol, the host and the inflictor of pain, and I'm joined by my usual victim and DJ, Edward Harvey. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, although I'm feeling rather thirsty and rather peckish after watching this movie. I don't know what for. I have a craving. It's sugary, and I don't know, something involving a clown. That's the vibe I'm feeling right now. I'm not sure about you.
Oh, definitely. It's all just absorbed into my mind, into my subconscious.
It's all is now in there, permanently left. Oh, that's kind of terrifying now, seeing like it's like all this product placement that we've been absorbed into is now just a part of you now. It's just you are one with the product placement.
I think it's replaced part of me that I'll never get back.
Are you just going to sit there thinking like, from now on, you're just going to go, Coca-Cola. I really need some Coca-Cola. And speaking of all this, luckily we're not doing this alone, aren't we? We have someone else joining us this time round.
Yeah.
Like on the last episode, we had a guest on. This time we have another guest on, and this one's someone who's already been on the podcast before, but we kind of I think for our anniversary special, basically this has basically now been 3 years. 3 years we've been trying to do this. Attempting to. And so we thought we had to go for a big one. And I think we've got to go for a big one. We need someone to help us here. So we have the wonderful Ben Errington from the Horror Hangout. So how are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Superb.
Well, I hope.
Well's the best way we could describe what we've been feeling at the minute. Like I said, hungry.
Hungry, I see.
It's interesting because Ben's from the Horror Hangout podcast, and this is a horror movie in a different way. So,
definitely.
I think it's quite appropriate.
There were probably more times during this movie where I kind of cringed and had to look away from the screen than most of the films we cover every week on our podcast. So, I felt right at home.
Well, we're going to discuss it, but there's clearly some horror moments in this movie that I'm thinking like, Jesus. But yeah, this one's a biggie. Usually for the anniversary special, we usually go for a big one, a famous one, the infamous one. The ones basically are already on the top of the heap when people think of bad movies, right? And for that one, we've gone for Mac and Me. Jesus.
Jesus, indeed.
They were an average alien family living on their own planet. And we were an average family living on ours.
He took my Coke, Mom. Come on, you guys.
I don't have it. I didn't take it.
I knew it.
Accidents happen, and like us, they found themselves in a strange new neighborhood.
I like it.
Me too.
Communing with the earth spirits.
Welcome to California, bud. Alert, alert, we have a malfunction, we have a malfunction.
Their lives were in danger.
Back off, Larry, get away from it.
We've got a problem here.
They had to escape. When the smoke cleared, their family was separated. Somehow, one of the aliens was hiding in our house. The government wanted to capture him.
It's here.
Everyone was after him. And my brother, Eric, wants to make friends.
We got him! Turn it off!
You sucked this living thing into a vacuum cleaner?
Yeah, and then we blew him out again.
Now Eric is risking not only his life, but my life.
Give me the gun. Step back!
To save them.
This is the police.
There he is! I told you they don't understand.
It's about more than friendship. It's about adventure. Mac and me.
So, right. Before we even go into Mac and Me and go into all the little details, the little history behind Mac and Me, because, oh my goodness, there's some wonderful production history behind Mac and Me. I wanted to just throw some few things out there because now we've been doing this now for 3 years. We've actually have gotten some more reviews and few little things on our podcast now, which has slipped under the ether for quite some time. Last time we did a readout was literally last anniversary. So thought, fudge it, let's go back and see what all you guys have been thinking in a minute. And I'm looking at the reviews in a minute, gone from Apple reviews, but there are places all over the shop. I know we've recently began quite a bit of traction in things like Instagram. We're getting quite a few people suddenly saying, like, hey, listen to this, we're fun, kind of thing. So it's...
Yeah, that's been really lovely to see, actually. Just people, like, discovering us via the trash tapes, then devouring everything we do elsewhere, like the YouTube channel, like the gaming stuff, and just like... I'm going to devour it all. It's fantastic.
Was that a slight Arnie impression?
Yeah,
I'm going to devour you.
A little bit, I think. Please don't talk to
I slip into Arnie in the conversation.
Slip into Arnie easily. Ed, your accents have been filling me with...
You never want to slip into Arnie anyway. But
it shouldn't be that easy, really. It
shouldn't be that easy. He's a tough man to slip into. I'm going to read some of these reviews now. We have quite a few. I'd like to see a lot of these are from the United States, which apparently is our biggest demographic at the minute. The US really like maybe just the sound of a bunch of British blokes just annoyingly ripping at bad movies. I think it might be the accents, my horrible attempt at impressions, maybe.
I think that's it. They love an accent, a regional accent as well, not like a stereotypical kind of British accent. They like regional British accents, I think.
Yeah. Although mine's like a mystery. No one can really figure out where I'm from originally. So they're sitting there going like, where are you? Where are you from? Why you sound a bit Yorkshire some days?
Mysterious.
Well, that's perfect for enigmatic if you're mysterious.
Yes, 100%. It's kind of special. So, right, I'm going to read some of these here. So, first one's an old. This one's quite an older one. I think we've talked about this before, but there's one by trying to read this. There's some funny names on here because obviously the internet. One's literally by. One's a British one. This one's a British one. It's been out for a little while, but I wanted to have a little readout. It's by Tyler. And he said, this is basically someone who's already been listening to the podcast quite a while because he's actually gone and said, it feels like these guys are finally in their groove. The later episodes find them adjusting to their style and relaxing into their recordings and the conversation really flows. The episodes just get better and better. I keep looking forward to the next podcast coming out. Long may they last. That's making it sound like we're some kind of cult, which we are.
That's nice. I think that is Thai Action Rocks over on Instagram, who's like he posts a lot of straight to video VHS action movies, which are fantastic.
Wonderful. Which I've seen some of those things. I've seen some of those episodes. I've seen some of the VHSs he's putting up there, and the more he puts up there, the more I sit there going, this is on the list. Like, what the fuck's this movie? This is going on the list. We're going a longer list because of it. Oh my God. So yeah, that's another, all these are 5 stars, which I'm so surprised by. I wanted, in a weird, I know it's going to sound awful, but in a secret way, I kind of wanted one bad review. I just wanted one. Like, just one.
It's got to be 5 stars or 1 star. I don't want anything in between.
I mean, how would you write like a 3-star review? Would I just sort of be like, it's right.
Yeah, it's all right, but
just the review is just literally 3 stars.
I think in order to actually want to go and write a review about something like a podcast, you either have to absolutely love it or completely hate it. So, like, if you're in the middle ground, you won't take the time and effort to go and write that review. So it's either glowing or humiliating.
If it gets a reaction, then it's working in some way.
It's kind of like, do you know when you go on Amazon and you go and look at the reviews? It's the same thing. It is like 5 stars, best thing ever, 1 star. This is terrible. And all the medium ones are like these really long essays trying to explain why it's so mediocre.
So passionate though, aren't they? Really passionate.
Oh, they are. It's quite funny. I do like them. I do like these. I do love these reviews. It's great. We've got another one here from Gangster Ray. That's brilliant. He basically wrote down, it says, title is Great Bad Movie Podcast. I'm a huge fan of the bad movie genre, and this is one of the best ones I've heard yet. Great job and great content. Keep going. Thank you very much for that.
Lovely.
Thank you from Gangster Ray. I think it's Gangster Ray because that's how it's spelled. They're all put together. I don't know what it is. Thank you very much for that. Got another one here from I think it's DJ Hour 89. My God, these names are wonderful. He wrote another one saying very funny and poignant. Poignant. He said, it's like, listen to the episode about the crazy Canadian film Hobo with a Shotgun. Oh, that was our second episode.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was your first episode?
Troll 2, which I always said.
Wow.
The problem with that is doing Troll 2 first, and for the longest time, we sat there thinking, we can't beat this. We started off too
strong.
Too strong.
If you start too strong, where do you go?
I think we started off too big.
We started down to 3 stars from here.
Yeah, it's not going to be better from there. He said like I'm assuming it's a he. But it says a fun vibe and very entertaining. Would absolutely recommend to friends. Continuing on to listen from there. I think we've already talked about him. But Daniel Arter wrote down, loved the banter, had me laughing, good fun, excellent times, brilliant. Thank you very much for that one as well. Another 5 stars. See, I'm telling you, all the reviews. These are all reviews we've missed over the year. Obviously, we've heard of this one before. But Andy bloody wrote a review for us. And this is why he's going to be coming on at some point to do Shopping Mall.
Andy Conduit Turner from the Horror Hangout, yeah.
Yep.
What a guy.
He wrote that down. Basically, he wrote out a really good review, but at the end of it, it's like, P.S., when the time comes for Shopping Mall, please give me a call. So, it's going to happen.
I say from the Hangout, he's almost like a Horror Hangout host now, isn't he? Like, Ben.
Oh, yeah, he definitely is. When we introduce him, we kind of say irregular co-host, but he's beyond that now. He's a regular co-host.
He's nearly in every episode now. And another one here, another review from that point onwards is Amanda G Comedy. I'm not sure what that is, but sounds great. Thank you, Amanda. It says like, well done podcast. I really enjoy this podcast. It's very entertaining and insightful and takes a deep dive to some of the weirdest movies in our zeitgeist. Highly recommend. Which is good. Thank you very much for that. I'm not sure if we're hitting the zeitgeist. But there are some bad ones.
Poignant zeitgeist. Some of these words, man. You're affecting a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, which is good.
Our audience are definitely at least have a thesaurus very close by.
Like reach.
By the way, the guy that's been promoting us a lot on Instagram is Rider_rated_18, and he's just been posting all our stuff. Have you got a review from him? I think you have.
Yes, I do. His name is Ben, and he's a lovely, lovely bloke. He says, fun listen, a great insight into the types of movies that we all love, but we know aren't great. Trash is a good thing, and when you come across a trash movie, it can be very entertaining. Can't wait to listen to your back catalogue. Which is what he's been doing. Which is exactly what he's been doing, which is flipping brilliant because he's been going back and promoting older episodes. Like, we didn't even have to do that. Like, he went back and done like a Batman and Robin. He went back and did Cobra. Those are our favorite episodes as well. It's like he's almost like he knows what we like.
Yeah, and he also he shared Sophie's film as well because he's on that episode of Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
he went and checked out her Poison Ivy film and shared that as well. So he's doing wonders.
Are we building some kind
guy.
of podcast cinematic universe situation where now we're just going to branch off into multiple things and then this one guy is finding all the connections between everything?
I think so.
Imagine he listened to this episode and he's never heard of the Horror Hangout, and now because of this, he goes back and listens to the Horror Hangout, and now it's happening. Telling you, it's the cinematic universe we're slowly making.
Oh, yeah, you got a friend for life now.
we have a friend for life. Thank you very much for all the reviews. Now, anyone who's been paying attention, do not hesitate to leave some more reviews on there. We have these are all the ones from Apple Podcasts, but you can also do them on quite a few places. So just write them down or share stuff on social media. We really do appreciate it. It doesn't really sometimes like show it off, but we really do appreciate everything that you guys are doing. So this is partly the reason why we still keep doing this, is like sometimes getting a review or having a share or just someone being able to get some banter about bad movies, which is kind of the reason why I started this all in the first place. So again, thank you guys so very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Now let's stop stalling and let's actually talk about Mac and Me, shall we?
Let's do it. If we must.
We have to, really, sadly. Now, for anyone who's kind of sitting down, what the hell is a Mac and Me? Well, Mac and Me is a 1988 American comic science fiction film, okay, which was co-written by a few people, but also the main director called Stuart Raffle is his name, and it stars quite a few basically low budget people, kind of thing. You know, like basically these are all non-actors. But this movie is infamous. This movie is absolutely infamous for its product placement, like we joked before. This is a very over-elaborate product placement of things like McDonald's, Skittles, and Coca Cola, as well as other little subtle product placements throughout the entire movie.
I didn't notice any of that. I didn't know.
You can't lie, Ben. You can't lie.
I didn't notice. Yeah, I was like, well, this is just real.
Now, the backstory to how this movie was made is actually quite interesting. So, first of all, it all starts off with the infamous producer, J.R. Lewis, right? J.R. Lewis has previously worked on advertising campaigns for a long time, right? Particularly for McDonald's and their associated charity, the Ronald McDonald House Charities, right? So he was the producer of the movie. But he started off entirely in just doing product placement, in basically doing advertising campaigns. So, which makes sense once you look at this movie. So he started off doing that. But then, I love this quote. He basically said, he was doing this, he said at one point, he explained that at the time, around the mid to late 80s, he said that Ronald McDonald was even more well-known than Santa Claus, he claims.
I think that's a lie.
He claims that Ronald McDonald was more recognizable than Santa.
I think he's slightly delusional, this guy.
Maybe Ronald McDonald visited his house once a year and he was like, oh, you've come in more than Santa Claus, mate. Oh, Ronnie.
I'm telling you, man, he's bigger than Jesus.
Oh, my God. It's fucking terrible, right? So this is the mentality we're already going into, right? So we've got someone who's clearly worked for McDonald's, someone who has clearly thinks that Ronald McDonald is the biggest thing ever. It's like, for example, like, there are icons out there in the universe, right? There are some famous iconic characters. Like, for example, people recognize who Mario is. People recognize who Mickey Mouse is. And now Ronald McDonald is falling into that category, right? I can get that. But, but Santa, you're pushing it. However, that said, though, he did say around this time that E.T. was slowly close behind them and thus felt that the next generation, in air quotes, needed a new E.T. of their own.
This is 6 years after E.T. That's not a generation, is it?
He basically said like, nah, that's old E.T. We need a new E.T.
6 years ago. It's been 6 years since E.T. Get over it. All right? We need a new E.T. immediately. Well, I don't think anyone really cares about. People are still enjoying E.T. Because in the 80s, films were in the cinema for years. And like when the probably home video release was a number of years after it came out of the cinema. So people were still riding that E.T. wave. It probably had no signs of cresting. But what's this guy?
The thing that frustrates me about this whole like E.T. comparison is like E.T. is one of the most beautiful movies ever made from the 80s, and it's such a stunning movie, and it comes from like a real place as well. Like Spielberg's had an imaginary friend basically that was like it stemmed from his divorce, like his when his parents divorced. So he created an imaginary friend, and that stemmed the script of E.T. It comes from like a real kind of place that the bond is kind of built up between them in the film, and it feels real. Mac and Me has no substance like that. There's no bond.
Just a man.
It makes me quite angry, to be honest.
It's so hollow.
It stems from nothing, you know. The script was probably written on a couple of napkins in a hotel room.
In McDonald's.
From McDonald's. Napkins that they had from McDonald's.
So basically what he did was, as the Avatar, he actually decided he negotiated with McDonald's to say he can get to use the right from McDonald's brand for other elements within the film. So he wanted to use, so as an advertiser, he wanted to actually, he was a midway negotiator to McDonald's to say, right, can we put McDonald's in films? Okay. So yeah, which is, which happens is like copyright stuff, etc. But he decided to go, no, let's not just try and pitch McDonald's to other movies. Let's pitch a project that is an actual cross-promotional endeavor, right? That where a whole film can promote all the restaurants at once, as well as its charity. Because one of the things is that some of the box office and some of the profits that it was going to do, right? Some of the box office sales were actually donated to the Ronald McDonald House charities. So basically this movie was a way of not only promoting McDonald's, but also was kind of a charity movie.
Yeah.
Which makes us feel a little slightly bad that we're poking fun of this movie.
It almost feels like they've just added that in so they don't feel too bad about the fact that McDonald's has got its dirty little paws all over it. Like they've gone, oh yeah, this is finance, and look at all the product placement, but it's for a charity, so if you hate it, then you're a wrong'un.
Yeah, and it feels like forced in that respect because like the lead character is in a wheelchair as well, but they feel like they've just done that to make themselves look good as well, rather than it being actually a good thing.
Oh, we're going to get to that. Oh no. Well, look, let me go through these facts because some of these things will have answers. These bizarre questions will have answers, and I have a few of them. My God. So, it has also then been reported that McDonald's partly financed it, but the producer, R.J. Lewis, denied this. Although technically, the movie was funded by Golden State Foods, which is the food service distributor to McDonald's. So technically, McDonald's did fund this movie indirectly.
That's ridiculous. No, McDonald's didn't. It wasn't McDonald's who funded it. It was McDowell's down the road. They've done it.
Pretty much was that. It's basically the middle company in between McDonald's. So it doesn't look like, this movie was 100% done by Mackie D's, right? Despite McDonald's suspectingly not wanting to actually be fully like endorsed in this. Like they wanted to make a movie where they could have McDonald's in it, but they didn't want it to be so obvious. This is what McDonald's actually said. It was the producer who said, nah, mate, we need to go full hog. One of the things they demanded was that Ronald McDonald should not appear in the movie at all. Oh boy, does he appear in this movie. In a big fucking way.
Yeah, because I read that McDonald's didn't want him in the movie. And I always thought that McDonald's were being kind of like, yeah, let's get everything of us in that movie. But it was a producer pushing it, wasn't it? McDonald's were actually like, no, we don't need everything in there. I don't need Ronald in there.
Yeah, basically they didn't want the movie to be McDonald's the movie. They actually just wanted the movie to be a movie. right? But the producer was saying like, no, while we have all this, we should just fucking go full hog. Why are we not going full hog into this? Let's get Ronald McDonald. Ronald McDonald is bigger than Jesus. He's more well-known than Santa Claus.
The producer sounds unhinged.
I kind of felt sorry for the guy who played Ronald McDonald because he got nominated for like the worst new actor, like a Razzie, like.
No, this is the thing. This is the thing. The movie was nominated for several Razzies, but the reason why Ronald McDonald was put there, not for the actor of Ronald McDonald, it was because the movie was so McDonald's heavy. They said McDonald's is a character amongst themselves, so we're putting Ronald McDonald as a way to represent all of Mackie D's in general.
Oh, okay, right.
So it wasn't just like, oh, that one guy who played Ronald McDonald is the worst. No, it's like saying you represent all of McDonald's.
But I think it was the actor that was in all the commercials as well. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty bad though, isn't it? But he was not. I'm not sure. Did he win? Did he win, or was he just nominated?
He won that.
Yeah,
and the director won his as well,
which is fucking hilarious. Oh,
when filmmakers talk about their movies and they talk about, like, I don't know, the city the film is set in as a character. So like Ridley Scott in Blade Runner might talk of future LA as basically it's a character in the film. That's what I feel like this film is trying to put across, is that McDonald's, the global corporation McDonald's, is also a character in this film, you know, so you should feel some sort of connection to it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing, really. I feel like, it is its own entity in this. It's a bit much. The whole idea was that this has now been labeled one of the first films properly to bring into the general public the idea of endorsements in movies. Now, this isn't the first movie that's done this. No, we have things like James Bond and Aston Martin, a whole bunch of stuff. But this is the first time ever that an audience could sit there and going, okay, yeah, Coca Cola, yeah, McDonald's, yeah, they now become intrinsic parts of the plot. So you have to thank R.J. Lewis for all of this, really. You have to thank that this is the first movie ever to say that it has that is fully grown, fully part of, like, basically advertising. In fact, Lewis remarked that even though the movie was a flop, he basically said that he's still the only person in the universe that ever had the exclusive motion picture rights to McDonald's, the trademark, the actors, the character, and the entire company in regards to movie making.
Why does he need to say the universe? Just say the world and people will get what you mean. Don't just expand to the universe. I know it's like an alien movie. We need to talk about that. The name of Mac as well is obviously related to McDonald's as well.
Of course.
That's just not... I mean, that is beyond... That's crossing a line, I feel. Having all the product placement, okay, yeah, fine. Having the main character, the main alien character, actually be called Mac. They might have just called the kid Donald and just be done away with it. They might have just called it Donald. Mac and Donald, yeah, we get it. Oh my God.
And they're like, no, it stands for mysterious alien creature. That's all it stands for.
That's what Mac means. Mac means mysterious alien creature.
I know what you mean. Does anyone say that at any point, mysterious alien creature?
At the beginning, I think. And then basically the fake FBI guys are constantly referring to it as a Mac. So
I mean, it's just mental.
Yeah, the trouble is, that means that all of them, all the family are Macs, not just Mac. They're all Macs. You got Mac Daddy,
Mac, Super Mac,
Mac Daddy,
Mac Daddy, Mama Mac.
That's it. Throughout the podcast, he's going to be called Mac Daddy.
Big Daddy, Mac Daddy, Little Mac.
There's a medium Mac as well. There's a medium
Mac, Big Mac, Mama Mac.
Big Mac.
Another interesting thing about this, basically, is the director, Stuart Raphael, right, who's made several family movies beforehand, right, was brought in as a director even before they had a completed script. In fact, they hired the entire crew without a script ready. So they hired everyone. They're already on a payroll. So basically, this is an exact quote from the director. He said, I was hired completely out of the blue, and the producer asked me to come down to his office. So I did. And he had an entire crew there already on the payroll. It was amazing. He had transportation, head of the camera department, an AD, the production manager, everybody. He had everybody there. And I said, well, what's a script? And he said, we don't have a script. I don't like the script. We have to write a script. You're going to write a script.
Jesus.
And did they say as well, you're going to have to write it on weekends. You're going to write it on weekends while you prep the film.
Yeah, basically, he basically said like, look, we don't have a script. We don't like the script that we were given. You're going to write a script, and you're going to have to write it on the weekends.
And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about E.T. It's like, it's frustrating to me because like the script for E.T. is amazing, and this was based on E.T., but this is just hasn't got a script. It's just, it's so important. Like, the writing is so important. I mean, you know that, Ben. You're a writer.
Yeah. I mean, just do it on weekends, isn't it? Just do it on weekend. Where you're planning the film that you're actually writing, just write the script on the weekend. Write the script as you go along. Like, I mean, that just shows you the level of planning that went into this.
Well, this is a clear example, right, of what a bad movie usually is, because we've covered this in several other bad movies before, Ed. Like, for example, how Street Fighter the movie was basically sort of written in a week, how other films were sort of written as they went or didn't have a complete script. So this falls 100% into the thing. The only thing they had was the movie needs to have sponsors. This is literally all they had.
Yeah. So how do we work these in?
It literally started with a product placement first and then threw a movie in there.
Worked backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, because usually most of the time you have a script and then someone says, hey, let's say McDonald's did come in and say, hey, we'll help fund your movie if you just have the restaurant scene based in McDonald's, right? And that would have made and that's what most movies do when you see product placement. There's already a script there and then they just find a way to slip it in, you know? But in this case, wow, it's opposite land. It's so opposite. Oh my God. Now, here's another thing, right? So eventually, the producer was actually aiming for like doing all this kind of stuff and everything else. Now, there's a couple of things here involving what happened to them later, because Raphael said that basically the producer was always trying to promote McDonald's and so on and so forth and doing a lot of whole stuff with it and working really hard with it, right? But he did say, Raphael did say at the moment that there was a moment where things changed in terms of its the relationship between McDonald's and the production, because and this is another thing that Raphael said, and I quote, the moment Disney heard that we were actually that we had this deal with McDonald's, they went in and hammered out a 3-year deal to get all their toys and their Happy Meals and have that relationship with Coca-Cola, right? So Disney heard that they were making a movie with the Disney heard like a flippin' sneak. Really was hearing in the background going like, wait a minute. So this movie's that you can have a movie endorsed by an entire fast food chain? Disney went in there and just hammered it in and say, right, do you want a deal where all our characters can be in your Happy Meals? And obviously McDonald's like, fuck yeah. So they did that. But this means that such as the McDonald's people were then not particularly enthused with us because they started off first but now they felt like, oh shit, we have to finish this off. We have to fulfill this arrangement because we have agreed to this.
But surely it's not just because of that. I mean, Disney know what they're doing. These guys didn't know what they're doing. They haven't even got a script. So
True. But the whole point is this was only heard because McDonald's heard it, because Disney heard this and said like, if you can make a whole fucking movie out of McDonald's, we're going to steal their thunder. So they just went in there. And that means then the McDonald's people were kind of forced into finishing this movie, even though they hadn't, because they said like, well, we're getting Disney money. McDonald's were getting Disney money, and they were just like, "Oh shit, we got this fucking horrible alien movie. We need to finish off now, don't we?" So basically, they lost the enthusiasm halfway through production, but they still have a fucking movie to finish. So they have to say, they basically, but halfway through, they literally no longer cared anymore. They kind of just no longer cared, right? And this is the thing. Disney had a very, very long interconnecting relationship with McDonald's for the longest time. Since around 1988, all the way to 2006, they had this relationship. Wow. Until it cut off because eventually people were, because through pressure of trying to reduce promotion junk food to kids. So that's why you see, when you see a lot of Happy Meals toys now and a whole bunch of Happy Meal stuff, they don't really promote it with a lot of toys or whatever it is. There's a lot more health stuff. That's the reason why. Yeah,
it's a bit, I mean, what are you guys, what are your opinions of like 80s and 90s McDonald's? Because that era of time for me is kind of like, I've got so many fond memories of 90s McDonald's. Like, it was a real treat to go to McDonald's. I think people like abused it though, didn't they? Took the kids there all the time, and they, you know, but having it as like a real treat and getting your toy and stuff like that, I thought it was fantastic. I loved 90s McDonald's.
And birthday parties as well were kind of magical. When you could have a birthday party. I don't think I ever had a birthday party at McDonald's, but I definitely attended some. Seemed really magical. Always felt like a treat. The toy thing was always cool because they'd always have the toy to go alongside like the release of a movie, like a Disney movie or something. So it felt like you were sort of further involving yourself in the release of that film as well. So yeah.
Even like the cups, like you get the Batman themed like cups and stuff. And people collect them all now, don't they? Like collectors and stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to hate me for this, but I was a Burger King guy, so I never went to. I was not. I wasn't a McDonald's. I was always Burger King because I think back in the day, my dad was a friend of like one of the head of like basically the guy who ran Burger King in Gibraltar, and he owned like 3 of these. So basically, he was like a mini mogul, even though it was like that kind of thing. So we always used to go there for birthdays because he was like, "We'll give you a treat." Basically, my dad was cheap and said, "Hey, buddy, my kid's getting a year older. Can we have a birthday party there, mate?" And it was the same, really.
Yeah, well, it's a similar thing, isn't it? Yeah, but it's like we didn't get a Burger in our like sort of local city. We didn't kind of like get a Burger King till later. So I got into Burger King a little bit later. Yeah, but
my God,
it was a great time. I remember collecting like the toys and stuff. I loved it.
An interesting fact as well, which I would argue is a big sort of moment in cinema history, actually, is the fact that the guy who plays Eric, Jade, his name is Jade Caligari, right? He was actually someone who suffered from spina bifida, right? So he is actually wheelchair bound. So he wasn't an actor playing that. He was actually a genuine person in a wheelchair, right? Yeah. He actually had a condition. But here's the thing. It wasn't part of the script originally. Guess who said we needed a handicapped child?
The producer.
The producer said we needed a handicapped child in this movie.
This producer's unhinged. Someone needs to stop him.
He's like a cartoon character, like a villain cartoon character.
It's kind of brilliant, okay? So he basically went over to director and said, like, he said the producer wanted to use an actor who was handicapped, right? He said, like, because it wasn't originally part of the script, but it would be rewritten for this character, right? For this kid. He said he found this kid with spina bifida, right? The kid had never acted before, but he was a wonderful kid. And when they finished it, it was almost as if, like, the reason that they used a real incumbent person to play the person in the wheelchair didn't mean anything, or even to even the people who lived in the world. So it was, in a weird way, he basically said that it's cool that we have a handicapped actor and a good thing there, but there's no reason why. It kind of felt like they just wanted to have him in there.
They just wanted a handicapped kid because he was just like, I want to throw him off the edge of a cliff. I want to roll him down a hill and see him go off the edge of a cliff into a river. And they go like, well, we can do that with a kid who's not handicapped, possibly. No one's going to believe it.
I will say one thing, though. I will say one thing. In a weird way, this movie's actually kind of, in a weird way, not forward. I'm not saying like this is breaking boundaries, but having a genuine handicapped, having someone with a disability, right, as a character, right? And everyone just treating it as it's normal and there's no problem with it. Yeah. It's kind of, it's awesome. But I'm thinking that's just a script. Is the idea that, we're never going to reference the fact that he's wheelchair bound. We're just barely, really. Everything else, it's just, it never played a factor. Basically.
No, it is good because when I thought of my memory of Macamee, I forgot that he was in a wheelchair. So that's good.
Same
it's
here,
he's treated like a regular kid. He's not like just treated like he's a disabled kid, So that is good. But the intentions, like the motives of putting him in there aren't great, I don't think.
It feels a little bit exploitative, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does seem like that. The same way that they've involved the charity, the same way that they've involved a disabled child as the lead, it does almost feel like he's trying to just use those things to counterbalance the evil corporation product placement stuff and almost trying to avoid the film being criticized in any way. It feels like that. Almost going, what? Criticize this film? It's got a disabled child in the main role. I dare you!
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically, I dare you give us negative reviews. If you give us negative reviews for this movie.
You hate children, do you? You hate children? Is that what you're saying? This is for a charity, this film, and you hate children?
Pretty
evil.
Much. Evil. It's literally the most corporate evil movie I think we've ever really covered. It's kind of brilliant. It would fit a 1980s cartoon. Captain Planet would be totally against his grill right now.
Yeah, it's funny because normally, when I share a lot of that I've been watching 80s and 90s movies on Instagram and stuff, and I always say that it's a comforting era for me. But when I watch this movie, it's not comforting at all. I feel gross watching it. I feel just I just don't feel comfortable at all. It's almost like hard to get through in that respect.
Yeah. Oh, it does feel like this is the bad side of the 80s now. We're going through the bad side of the 80s, the corporate 80s, the stuff that we forget when we look at our nostalgic goggles. And then we're now adults and sit back and going, ugh.
Yeah. Because the scary thing is, at the time, I didn't think that. I saw this movie and thought it was great when I was a kid.
Yeah, same here. I got quite fond memories of it as well. Enjoying it all the time, regularly. I don't really remember any of the product placement.
Now
which
you do,
maybe
though.
just makes it seem. Now I do. Maybe I'm just ignorant idiot kid.
Basically, stupid kids. We're stupid kids, and we didn't notice it. And now that we're adults, we're looking back at this. I feel slightly conned.
Sometimes now when my daughter watches something which is subjectively terrible, and I go, why are you watching this? This is awful. And she's like, well, I enjoy it. And I'm obviously let her watch it, but quietly judge her. Yeah. I've got no rights to do that because I was the same as a kid watching Mac and Me, sat there going, this is great. This is better than E.T. E.T. go on the trash heap. This is better. Idiot.
Did you actually, I'm not sure if you did this because I saw this on your Instagram. Did you actually watch this with your daughter?
Well, I did. I put it on in the same room as her, but she was slightly distracted by other things. I was trying to kind of get her to watch it because I said, look, I used to like this film as a kid, but I know it is terrible. So we're going to watch it and kind of enjoy the badness of it. And she was just a bit freaked out by the way Mac and his family look. Who can blame him? She was sort of saying, why are they naked constantly? Why are they naked? I didn't have any answers. Why are they naked? Well, I don't really know because they're aliens from a different planet. But at the same time, I don't really know. And I was just laughing at certain things. And then I think she did watch the whole McDonald's dance sequence from start to finish with a face of confusion, fear. But after that, she was like, I'm kind of done. And she went and continued doing what she was doing elsewhere. So, yeah.
Let's look at the reviews, which are famously absolutely terrible. So, first of all, let's start off. Let's look at the box office. First of all, it was premiered in all places. It was premiered in Hong Kong first, a week before.
Interesting.
Very peculiar. And then it went to the United States. It was a box office bomb because it grossed $6 million against its $13 million budget. I don't know how this movie was $13 million. but we'll get to that in a moment. But basically, like I said, some of the profits did go to the Ronald McDonald House charities. Upon release, Mac and Me had negative reviews due to its limitations of numerous concepts, especially stealing things from E.T. and even a few things from Short Circuit 2, by the way. If you've seen the ending of that, it's pretty much close to Short Circuit 2. Some critics basically said, like, for example, the LA Times basically said it's an amazingly bald-faced copy of E.T., even though this is E.T. in a sticky wrapper left under a heater for 2 hours too long. Almost everything in the earlier movie has a double here of some kind. Gross. So just imagine, like, it's like a chocolate bar that's just left underneath the radiator for too long, and you're just gonna go.
Well, like, even that description is too respectful of it. Even that description's like, oh, is it? It might still taste all right. It might be all melted, but it's probably still, you could probably still eat it. It's lovely, but it's beyond that, isn't it? It's beyond that.
Richard Harrington from the Washington Post actually famously said that changing it E.T. phone home should be phrasing it to E.T. call a lawyer, please. And also said, why is it so hard to like this film? Having seen it done so much better in Spielberg before doesn't help, of course. So it's just like, God, we've done this already. Why am I finding it so hard to like basically an actual copy of a movie? Oh my God. It keeps going. At the moment, this is at the moment on Rotten Tomatoes, it is one of the only few films that has an absolute 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. With an average rating of about 2.7 out of 10. That's the consensus. With the site consensus, Mac and Me is duly infamous, not only for its pale imitation of E.T., it's also a thinly veiled feature-length commercial for Coca Cola and McDonald's. Everyone was tricked when they watched this. Wow.
Totally. Yeah.
Wow. This is the thing, though. It's become a legacy now. This is one of those films that's infinitely grown over time. It has now been labeled as one of the most frequently pulled out as one of the worst films of all time whenever there's an argument for this. There have been multiple filmmakers and multiple stuff talking about this as the ultimate addition to why product placement is bad in media. This has now become a thing where it's almost now examined as a piece of media. It's people in media studies would be talking about this movie as a bad example of product placement. It is now grown its own legacy. It's gone beyond what it is now, and now people just hear about it and almost like in the ether, and now people go and finally review it, which is why we're finally doing this for our anniversary episode, because wow. Just wow. Right. Okay. Let's actually talk about this fucking movie. We've already done this now. Let's actually talk about the plot. Yeah. So, oh my God, there's so much happening. There's so much. I'm already exhausted. I've already just talked about the backstory. We haven't even talked about the plot yet, and I'm already tired.
One thing I want to say about the immediate open, it opens with the Orion logo, and the Orion logo is one of the most nostalgic logos for me. Because it reminds me so much of RoboCop, because obviously it's the same studio, and they've not changed the Orion logo like ever. I watched, the 2019 Child's Play. That's Orion. Yeah. It's got the same logo. Yeah. It's got the whole VHS fuzz on it and everything.
It's just like, we don't need to update this. It's fine.
I love that. I love it. So nostalgic. It's a great logo. But then we cut to the planet of the mysterious planet with the mysterious alien creatures on it, and they're like searching for subterranean water, I guess. Like, I guess so. With a straw.
They have a space straw. Yes, we instantly start this movie with an alien family on an alien planet, which I'm not entirely sure where it's supposed to be, because... Look,
well, you can see the Saturn, can't you? So is it a moon of Saturn or something?
Maybe, but here's my question though, because obviously there's also big news that a rover has just landed on Mars. Just recently has landed on Mars.
Have you seen the footage?
Oh, it's amazing.
It looks like the same planet as this in the start of Mac and Me.
Oh my God. Are we saying those are actual Martians? Are basically these aliens are from Mars? Are we saying this now? Is this canon?
Definitely.
It's canon.
Yeah.
Also, during this particular moment, let's talk about the score, because the score, Alan Silvestri, one of the most well-known composers ever. He's like Back to the Future, Predator, Forrest Gump. his score is stunning. Just listen to this and just like close your eyes and absorb this. I'm closing my eyes and just absorbing it because it's like beautiful.
Moody.
It's stunning. It's wasted on this film.
Why is it? Well, yeah. Why is it such a good score in this absolute flop of a movie?
So you've got this music and you've got these fumbling aliens on this planet, and it's such a weird mix because this music is trying to lie to you to say this is cinematic gold.
Yeah, it reminds me of a lot of things, though. I think it just feels so comforting and soothing because it calls back to a lot of the Alan Silvestri music you've heard before, so it kind of feels nurturing in that way. Imagine just listening to that somewhere and someone saying, "What are you listening to?" And "Back of Me" soundtrack. What are you listening to?
The thing is, because the soundtrack at the time that it was released, it only released the awful songs. I think it had one bit of his score on it. His score was released not until 2014, and it was like a limited run, and that was just his score. But no, it's a great score, and like, yeah, you've got these fumbling like alien family, and I wrote my notes on these guys were basically, they look terrifying. They look like they're drunk and they've shit themselves because they can they walk like they've sort of wobbly like legs, and they've got wide sort of stance as well. They kind of look like they just drank loads and shit themselves. That's what they look like.
Drank loads and shit themselves.
We need to talk about...
But the worst thing, I'm going to continue. The worst thing is their puffy faces, right? Because they've got like arse kind of like cheeks, and their mouths look like a fucking butthole. So they've just got like an arse face. But the thing is, they kind of got like a blow-up doll face, right? But at least the blow-up doll kind of looks enthusiastic. These guys just look permanently confused.
Enthusiastic.
Oh, we've lost the plot already. We've only just started. It's only 2 minutes in and we've lost the plot already. Yeah, these aliens look disgusting.
I know.
They look like, sometimes when you see like props from movies from years ago and you think, oh, they've just been stored in some crappy old garage. They've got water damage all over them. They look like old alien suits or props or something from like, I don't know, Doctor Who in the 60s. And they've just like got them out of storage and they've gone, stick them in for a new film. They look rubbish.
I'm sure any kid watching them today would be looking at it and be like,
"What?"
Yep. Fair. Absolutely fair.
So they come across the sort of the NASA lander thing, don't they? Yeah.
And so they land on it. But and also like, ooh, what is this? So they're rolling around. They're like touching it. At one point, the dad's weird, by the way. Mac Daddy is completely weird in this movie.
He's
the
scariest one, definitely.
Yeah, because he touches stuff, and when he touches stuff, sparks come out basically. So electricity just doesn't work with him, like at all.
No, they just destroy everything. They're just awful.
And so at one point he touches the rover, it sparks, and then you see him trying to get, so the rover starts like what seems to be trying to find water or samples of rocks and stuff like that. And obviously the Mac family are all looking around going, ooh, what is this? But curiously. And then a fucking humongous ass vacuum just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And just sucks the little one up.
Well, then the whole family gets sucked off.
The
old family's been sucked off here, mate. It's a family film, honestly.
Oh God! The thing is, when they get sucked into the vacuum, what I find really funny is that they try and do this really bad visual effect where they kind of just stretch and shrink and just like twirl into the vacuum.
Yeah, like a very cartoon sort of style. And I don't know why they would be like that. No. Why would they sort of go into that kind of cartoony kind of like form?
It's terrifying.
I have a theory They did this in order to explain why some of the puppets and some of the costumes look terrible, by giving them the idea, the reason why, because throughout the movie, the whole family look like they're in different sizes. They look like they stretch, or they're in weird positions, or arms do weird stuff. So I think they did this so they could hide out the idea that, okay, they're super stretchy. Go with it. It's a characteristic. Don't care about consistency. Go.
Yeah.
God.
Then we cut back to the NASA, don't we? Like on Earth.
Yeah.
And we see them in like a studio, that area, and the aliens have just been transported to Earth via this machine, haven't they? Like,
yeah. So they've landed on Earth, and obviously you have all the scientists and all the NASA people going like, right, we're going to try and get the sample now, and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of brilliant. But then when they open up the hatch, be honest. First time I saw it again, I was sitting there going, this is actually quite scary, because the hatch opens up, smoke comes out, a tiny hand pops up, and you can almost see like the tones off. This feels almost like they're trying to parody Alien at the minute in time, because it pops up, the little things coming out, the little aliens running out, the whole thing fills up with smoke. Mac Daddy is at the window.
He smashes the window. Change the soundtrack of this particular section, change it to like horror movie soundtrack, and it would affect me, I think, because it is pretty
there
terrifying.
has been YouTube edits where people have done that.
Okay.
This is the thing, and this is something I noticed throughout the whole movie, really. Like, there are moments where, to me, if you just change either the music or a slight thing to it, it could genuinely be scary. Like, genuinely scary, it could be. It's just off-putting when the whole movie is aimed at a family. Like, it's the family market, the McDonald's family market, and you're putting horror elements into it?
So they escape, don't they? And like somehow, the family gets split up from Mac.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where, like, Mac is kind of like trying to escape, and he gets onto like an electric fence, and he's getting blown by like a helicopter while he's on an electric fence, and it sounds like this.
He looks terrifying in that. It looks terrifying. It's unnecessary. He's just like Stretch Armstrong. His eyes are bugging out.
Oh, it's so bizarre. It doesn't match. It again, adding the idea there's extra stretchy, bugging out, everything else. And then a whole bunch of shenanigans happen where he nearly gets run over by a car, by the way.
Yeah, it causes a massive hold-up, like a big accident, doesn't he?
Yeah. He, at one bit, he's literally on the windshield of a car, stretched out the entirety of the windshield of this car. And you can see a whole family, like, I think it's like a mum and dad or a mum and daughter or something like that. And they're just screaming at this thing, going, ah, ah, ah.
Yeah. There's a kid the first kid we see he's got a fabulous bowl cut.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's a redhead and got a bowl cut. It's actually fucking epic.
Yeah, but like it's like shortly after that we do meet the actual family of the film.
Yeah, the cruisers.
You almost immediately get forced into a Coke product place, and there's this line.
Okay, give it back, Mike.
What?
He took my Coke, Mom.
Come on, you guys. I don't have it. I didn't take it.
I knew it.
It wasn't me.
Who was it then?
Because Mac has climbed into their car. And he's like hitching a ride, and he's basically in the back, and he steals the little boy, the Eric's Coke. But when he steals it, you get like a long, stretchy arm that like takes the can, and it's so weird and creepy. It's hilarious.
The arm is amazing. It's one of the things that made me crack up every time, because you're sitting there going like, they had the one arm, and it's like, we built this arm. We're going to use it as much as possible, and they do so often.
So as soon as you've got like Coke introduced, it kind of gives you an idea of like the sort of the ego of Coke at the time. Like, let's get Coke in there immediately. And I've got an example of the Coke ego from the 80s. Listen to this commercial.
First time, first love, oh, what feeling.
Oh, tune.
Electricity flows like the very first kiss, like a break in the clouds and the first ray.
tune anyway. I love the tune.
It's like Bonnie Tyler.
I know.
It's the end this bit. I'll just keep it playing. It's a minute of Coke. You've got to listen to the whole thing.
It's a minute of Coke.
Coca-Cola is it. That's the ego of Coke in the 80s.
This is it. It's Coca-Cola is it. Not only that, Coca-Cola will make you feel like the most amazing person ever. It will empower you. It will make you feel special. It is the best.
It will rejuvenate you.
Which is what it does in this movie. It literally does. It is literally the elixir of life.
They treat it like the elixir of life, and it's bizarre. Like at every turn, whatever any character's doing, a Coke needs to be going alongside them. Isn't someone using it as like a prop for something else? They've got like pens and pencils in it at one point, an empty can of Coke.
Yeah, they do.
This is the thing. The arrogance of Coke, right? Coke, for me, it's not even like right, top 3 Cokes, top 3 colas ranked, right? Here we go. Like 3 is Coke, okay? 2 is Pepsi, there I've said it. And number 1 is Fentiman's Curiosity Cola. I'm telling you.
I thought you were going to say Roller Cola.
Hot take.
Hot take. Fentiman.
So take that, you egomaniacs. You're only third.
Fentiman. You shop in Waitrose, Ed? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're admitting to? I won't drink anything other than Fentiman's at room temperature. Okay.
No, I had Fentiman's Cola in like a bar like a few years ago, and I was like, God, this is the best cola I've ever had. Amazing. It really is. I suggest you try it.
Oh my God! But
I think I have had Fentiman's. But anything that tastes like this is going to sound ridiculous. Too cola-y just always doesn't quite sit well with me. Yeah,
I've never seen you so actually like passionate in this case, Ed. I've never seen you like, right, let me sit down. We need to talk about Coke.
It's because this movie angers me quite a bit because I really love E.T. and that's quite special to me, that movie. And this is so like just copying E.T. that it makes me furious. So when we get to the Trashometer later, be ready for that.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Right. We have our little Mac sitting in the back of the truck, and the whole family is just doing round. And basically, it turns out this family, the Cruisers, are moving from Chicago all the way down to California for what seems to be a really kind of mediocre job from the mum. Apparently, it's like some kind of high managerial role in Sears, but it's thinking like, would you actually genuinely move from one side of the country to the other for what seems to be a manager job in a shopping mall?
Yeah, well, it's just so they can get Sears in there, isn't it?
I think this is the case. Because I'm sitting there going like, unless you're like a proper managerial type or you're that desperate, wow, the leap is insane. So they go to the house. They arrive into the house for the first time. And this is when we're first revealed, actually, because before then, like, we're not revealing at all, like, that our lead character, Eric, is wheelchair bound. And then it just happens. And, you know, first time you're seeing it, you're like, whoa, oh, okay. This is a character trait. I wonder what they're going to do with it.
I've got a clip of, you know, when they're arriving in California. This is an example of the bad dialogue in this movie, right? As they're arriving, we get this.
Hey, look at all the cars. This looks pretty nice.
Pretty nice.
That's all he's saying. Like, look at all the cars. You know, is there anything else to look I mean, you could say it's California. You could say, oh, look at the palm trees, or look at, you know, something that's recognizable about California. No, look at all the cars. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It's pretty neat here. Great. Look at all the windows and doors. They've got it all.
Oh, it's nuts. Yeah, it's true. Basically, it feels like, again, haphazard, but I'll say one thing. I feel the mum energy. The mum is great. I love the mum because
she's the only named actor, like the only one that actually had a career after.
What I love about the mum is not only just that, is that all her lines, I feel they're a weird sense of like, you know, slightly, like, how can I put it? Snarky, sarcastic, a little like backhanded, and they're bloody brilliant. When all this is happening, they all move into the house and kind of thing, and then our little Mac escapes from the van. But what do we get to see also? We're introduced to Debbie, the fucking
He's dressed
girl.
as a Native American.
Because sure, why not?
Cultural appropriation, okay? I know it's 1988, but there's no excuse. This is weird because she obviously sees Mac at this point, right?
Yeah.
And she just thinks it's a pet or a mate or something. She doesn't think it's an alien. She just goes, "That's a weird little guy you got with you." Something alongside that.
She's a proper stage school kind of like actress, isn't she? She's everything's at like one level and high tone, kind of like no, like that.
I think out of all the actors, she's probably the worst, right? She's definitely the most irritating out of the lot because she just seems to be on one mode, which is irritating girl.
But she's always like she's projecting, like she should be like doing theatre, like she's trying like full volume all the time.
It's one of those where I go, was that the best take you had for that? Was that the best take? Because I go, come on.
At one point, this sort of as she goes over and says, like, I wonder who that is. It's like saying, is it an animal? Is it a pet? Whatever it is. At one point, I think, this is a little later on when Eric and Debbie first meet. And it's going saying like, it's like, oh, are you trying to look for your little friend kind of thing? And it's all like, and obviously Eric doesn't know what it is. He's trying to hide. Oh yeah. Oh, that's just my brother. And it goes like, your brother? God, welcome to California, man. Where do you come from again?
Yeah. So there's quite a long section of Mac like sort of not being seen properly, and he's just causing mischief in the house, isn't he? And all kinds of stuff like, and it goes on for quite a long time. They're like padding it out, aren't they? Like there's a lot of, but you get a display of Mac's powers as well, don't you? Like there's a bit where the TV comes on and it's not plugged in because he's touched it and stuff like that, and the radio controlled car that comes on and it's going round without any batteries in the control.
The kid is genuinely terrified. Like I think if that happened to me, I'd just be like, "What's going on? That's odd." But he's like, "Oh my god!"
Especially
no better.
Especially when he has the power tools. Remember that bit? And he's like, he cuts a hole, like a triangular hole in the door with a circular saw. And that's when you see, it's like a here's Johnny kind of moment of like,
this is what I'm trying to say. Little Mac is not, they're trying to pass this off as charming, right? But realistically, this little alien is driving this tiny boy mad to the point of getting schizophrenia. Get into that. But also, obviously, he's trying to say, hey, there's a little creature following around doing weird shit, right? I'm not doing this. There's one bit which scares me, which is when it generally scared me, and I would be thinking, this happened to me, like, what the fuck? Is, at one point, he's seen the RC car just kind of drive on its own and it stops. And it's like silent, it's still. And a fucking drill comes through the wall!
I know. It's so scary. No, I mean, Mac is like not cute and he's causing so much trouble. And he even causes so much trouble that Mac, like Eric is chasing him, looking in his wheelchair. And it leads up to the scene that Ben was talking about earlier. He goes to look for Mac, like at the side of a cliff. And I'll just play what happens. He's in his wheelchair, approaching the cliff. And he just goes off the cliff in his wheelchair and lands in the water. This is Max that's caused this, by the way.
Why did his mum buy a house? She's got a kid in a wheelchair. She's bought a house with a garden that leads onto a slope that goes directly off a cliff into a river. Surely she should have thought about building a fence or something.
When Eric's going down the slope, that's actually him. So that's dangerous. Apparently they said like they were trying to find stunt doubles, and they found a few stunt doubles throughout the movie later on, but they couldn't find one that actually kind of fitted his size basically and how to balance the wheelchair properly. So he had to do quite a few of his own stunts in air quotes. Right. But then the moment he slips, goes off the cliff, what's so funny is that it's so obviously a doll.
Yeah,
in the
it's
wheelchair,
so rigid in the chair. Like
you can see, like and it's just a mannequin. You can tell it's a mannequin.
Yeah.
But here's a little factoid about that clip in particular. This one's a famous one if anyone's a big fan of Paul Rudd. Because Paul Rudd has done a running joke with Conan O'Brien for years, right? So Paul Rudd, famous actor, every time he goes on Conan O'Brien to promote a movie, and he instead of showing the clip from his upcoming film, he just shows this clip of every time, to the point that it became a running joke for at least years, ever since 2004 apparently, all the way till now. Every time Paul Rudd's on the Conan O'Brien show, they do this, which is why if you ever seen the Conan O'Brien show, you realize he's not on it that often anymore to promote movies because Conan's grown sick and tired of this prank.
And imagine that's probably why that clip is so memeable now. It's like it's the most memorable part of the film just because of that, I think.
Yeah. So basically, he flies off a cliff, but then at this point, Little Max sees it. So like, ooh, like he looks confused, doesn't know what's happening. Debbie is shouting, "Eric, Eric, Eric!" The mum's going in there. The mum thinks that the kid's gone suicidal. That's how it's gone. Like, what a fucking leap! What a leap!
Yeah, definitely.
What a leap he took off the cliff.
Well, you say like the mum thinks the kid's gone suicidal because like they get the doctor in to look at the kid, and the doctor is absolutely hilarious. Let's listen to the doctor.
Your mother tells me that you've been seeing some things. Can you tell me about it?
You wouldn't believe it.
Try me.
It's a little creature.
Do you see him often?
Just the things that he does.
Has anyone else seen this little creature?
Just Debbie. She's the girl next door.
I'm going to give you this mild sedative. It'll help you get some rest.
Wow. His answer it sounds like that's his answer to everything. It sounds like that's his answer to everything. No matter who he speaks to, he goes, "I think a mild sedative would make you feel a bit better." Yeah, but I've just got a tummy ache. No.
I love the fact that he already has a mild sedative at the ready. Like this is genuinely his approach. It's like, I'm just going to give him a mild sedative. Well, shut him up.
Yeah, he probably opens up his doctor bag and he's just got loads of sedatives in there. That's all he's got in there.
It's like he needs to calm down. He's starting to see things. And the thing is, obviously, by this point, he's saying like, why don't you just ask Debbie? Debbie saw it too, right? And then Debbie comes in and basically they're planning. By sound of things, a couple of things. First of all, we're introduced properly to the sister, the older sister, who conveniently also works at McDonald's. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a clip of that.
Go on.
I'm Michael, Eric's brother.
I'm Courtney, Deb's sister.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Me too. It's McDonald's, huh?
Yeah. Why don't you stop by for a Big Mac?
The kid's just an advert there. Why would you stop by for a Big Mac?
But she says it so sarcastically.
When I first saw, like, I haven't seen the movie for years, but when I watched it, I didn't notice at first that she was wearing a McDonald's uniform. No. So I was like, when he just said, "So McDonald's, huh?" Like, it's almost seemed like he just popped McDonald's randomly into the conversation. And I didn't know why.
This is the part of the script where you just say McDonald's for no reason and everyone will just agree with you. Oh, yeah, it's lovely there.
You can imagine R.J. Lewis is sitting there, like, in the film, he's like, "Go on, mention McDonald's. Do it. Come on. This is where our money is, baby. McDonald's." I can imagine him, like, there all the time.
If I can get the disabled child to mention McDonald's and the charity in the same sentence, oh, God, I'm going to lose it. That's it. Go on. Mention McDonald's.
Oh, it's almost
once the McDonald's is mentioned, then you get it all the time. Like they're driving around a little bit later, and you hear this.
You know what I feel like?
A Big Mac?
Man is a genius.
I'm psyched.
I tell you.
Oh my God, he can't escape it. It's always and forever going to be a McDonald's thing from now on. It's always there. And that's the thing is, when you're a little kid, you don't mention it. You don't notice it. But the moment it's mentioned, you start to, now as an adult, you totally see it every time. They mention it even as a line or two every so often. But this is leading to a little bit, because what they do is they're saying, hey, Debbie, why not invite Eric over to Brittany's birthday party in a couple of days, which happens to be in McDonald's. Okay. So this is leading up to the McDonald's scene.
Yeah, it's like setting that up, and then you kind of waiting for that. You want in that scene. It's kind of a big part of the movie.
I was confused with this. Whose birthday party is it? Just some girl that she knows. So this guy doesn't know Brittany.
No.
Can't just bring strangers along to someone else's birthday party. That's completely against the code.
It was the 80s, man.
It was the 80s, man. We'll take anyone there. Come on, everybody outside. Come on. Have you guys heard? I may be getting this wrong. You may have already planned this. Have you heard anything about Jennifer Aniston in relation to this film?
I do know this.
Okay. I won't jump in yet then.
We'll give it a pause because there's something quite special with that. But before all this, by the way, Eric and Debbie are planning to capture the alien.
Yes.
And this is the best, for me, this is my favorite scene in the movie because it is both bizarre, it is hilarious, it almost feels a little bit like out of fucking Poltergeist. And you'll see what I mean. So Eric is going around the house, dropping straws and glasses of Coca-Cola all over the house, right?
Yeah.
At one point is really kind of weird because clearly I think at this point, Michael, who's the older brother, who we haven't mentioned, by the way, but Michael's in there. He's talking to what I think is the older sister, over the phone. And the conversation to me personally sounds a bit seedy. It's a bit off. It's like saying like, it's like, we've been doing some things, but also, she's all the way there. I'm all the way here. Oh, by the way, are you dating anyone? It's like, dude, hold on. You've just met.
He's straight on it.
I know, and he said, like, what you studying, what your subject, and he goes, oh, yeah, that's my favourite subject, I know all about that, I'll tell you all about it.
Anything. I don't want to shame anyone, right? I don't want to be horrible to this guy, but this guy is a fairly average-looking teenage boy, right?
Yeah.
I would say. Again, correct me if I'm wrong.
All right.
I don't want to say anyone's out of anyone's league at all, because I know that's not how it works. However, she starts swooning over him, and I'm like, no, behave yourself now. Don't swoon. At that point earlier when they were discussing, she was kind of like, all right, yeah, nice to meet you. Just moved in, have you? Sexy eyes. I was like, no, not this guy. Surely not. I mean, get to know him.
That's sexual tension.
I'll tell you something. The best way to describe it is just hormones. That's what in the script is like saying, you both like each other. Why? We've only just met. Hormones. It's just...
They're holding hands like a little bit later on.
I know, proper.
Oh, he's trying to drive. What's she feeding him? Oh, sorry, I don't get ahead of myself, but...
What, Mackie D's? So at this point then, after he's dropping off Coca-Cola and straws and cups of Coca-Cola all over the house, leading into some kind of bizarre contraption where they're going to use a Hoover to suck him up, right?
Yeah.
So, and this bit to me, this is what I'm talking about, where it feels a bit poltergeisty. It feels a bit off.
Yeah.
Because Debbie comes through the window and Eric's saying like, well, we need to hide. So they hide in the cupboard. All of them in there that can fit an entire fucking like hold wheelchair and shit into this giant wardrobe, holding a vacuum cleaner. And then the moment the little Mac shows up, boom, doors open, the vacuum starts sucking him up. You can see a bit where he's holding onto the goddamn like curtains of the window and just getting sucked through. Do it.
Shall we hear it?
That clip. Yeah.
So they charge out of the closet.
You're hurting him!
You're hurting him!
The best thing about that moment is when Eric gets Debbie and he gets higher and higher and it's like, Debbie! Because basically what's happening is Matt goes into the Hoover is on Debbie's back. like a backpack, and Mac gets sucked into the Hoover, and when he's in the Hoover, he kind of makes Debbie elevate like from the floor, and he's like screaming at Debbie, "What's going on?" Because you're flying in the air.
It's fucking terrifying. It goes up the walls. At one point, he's just rotating on the floor 360 degrees, gets dragged off. The lighting starts to affect. The sparks are lighting all over the place. It looks, like I said, it looks like a scene out of fucking Poltergeist. It's just going down this corridor, being chased over. The brother comes out, lights flickering. Debbie's all over the ceiling. It is genuinely scary to a point.
So they realise they have to kind of reverse the Hoover, don't they, to like get him out. Yeah. And he's looking pretty worse for wear. He's looking pretty like tired. So they're like, "Oh, give him a drink. Give him a drink." So they do this.
This is unreal. This is incredible, guys.
This must be like what they drink on their own planet.
So they get a can of pop, a can of Coca-Cola, and just give it a bit of that. That'll sort him out.
Why does he say this must be what they drink on their home planet? Their home planet is a desolate wasteland. They've not got
Mars.
It's Mars. They've not got Coca-Cola on there.
Ben, the planet is made out of Coca-Cola.
No wonder they can't find water on Mars. They're missing the wrong liquid. They need to find Coca-Cola. That's what they need to find on the Mars lander. No wonder. My God. So basically now it's official. This is canon now. Mars is made out of Coca-Cola. But yeah, so this is a thing. This is considered a life, like a life source. Their food, pretty much, yeah? Basically anything sugary. Basically, sugar is their life source by the sound of things, because original Coke in the 80s in particular was, so full of sugar.
Still is, really, but yeah.
Still is, but back then, in fact, have you ever had, this is something, maybe it's just me, for example, but for me, in America, you'd have something like called Mexican Coke, right? So Mexican Coca-Cola uses like real sugar, unlike the artificial sugar they use in America. So it tastes extra sweet. In Mexico, regular Coca-Cola.
I can't even imagine that, because the Coke that I have, like here, is like, that tastes really sugary to me. So, God, must be horrendous.
Makes your teeth furry.
In Gibraltar, we have a very similar thing where we have like Coca-Cola, but if you get it from Morocco, because we're very close to Morocco, if you get the Moroccan Coca-Cola, it's just a bag of sugar in a can.
Also, we forgot to mention that during like the quieter scenes when like Mac is like sort of missing his family, he does this whistle thing, which he basically can communicate with his family wherever they are by a whistle, which sounds like this. And
What's
then
that ripping off there? That
his
is
family
ripping off
do it
something
back,
else.
so he hears it again. He hears it back.
My God. I mean, again, out of context, it sounds pretty sweet. I understand it, but it's just bizarre when you see these weird rubber people just doing this.
They just need eyelids. I think they'd look a lot more. They'd look a lot less scary if they had eyelids that acted like actual eyelids. The fact that the eyes are constantly like, "Oh God, I'm in so much pain."
To be honest, I would find it more terrifying if those weird things blinked. I'm saying that because you can imagine when they blink, they'd just be more. It would sound like a squishy blink. You'd be like, and you're like, "Oh, don't blink! Stop blinking! It's too much."
I'm like, God damn it.
This leads to, finally, we're now about 50 minutes into the movie. Here we go. McDonald's. We're heading to McDonald's now. But before then, obviously, Debbie's arriving. Debbie's Debbie and Debbie's mum is going to take Eric. But the little dipshit alien, little Mac, is now just sitting on the sofa, looking really tired, watching some TV. Like, almost like... So feeds him some Coca-Cola.
Mate. I'm a bit hungover. I've been smashing a Cokes last night. I feel a little bit worse for wear. Yeah, get me a McDonald's breakfast. Bring it back to me. I don't want to go there. Bring it back to me. Come on.
That's the tone. So they said, because they were right, they said like Eric's saying, no, I can't go. I have to keep an eye on the alien, the little alien. It's like, no, my mum's not allowed because my mum said to keep an eye on you. It's like, oh, okay. So they do a plan where they get rid of the stuffing out of a giant teddy bear that they own, right? And puts Little Mac into a teddy bear outfit and takes it so they can go to McDonald's together.
Mental. Mac is about the same size as like a 2-year-old, like that's thing. But the kid that they get and put in the Teddy costume is at least like 8 or 9. So the size difference is unbelievably ridiculous. Tiny Mac, just have him in a backpack or something. Do something like that. Dress him as a teddy bear, and then he's got to try and pass off to the mum of Debbie that, just got a new teddy bear, got to go everywhere with it. This kid's like about 12.
Kinda old for a teddy, isn't he?
He's from Illinois.
On top of that, they actually say, like, it's like, Eric goes and says, like, oh, I've had this teddy bear for a long time. And it's like saying, and she's like, it's like saying, but does your teddy bear move? Because even she's noticing this teddy bear can't fucking stop doing things. It's like it's doing a little jig. And it says like, no, it's don't worry, it's all updated with new microchips. And she's looking baffled, like,
who wrote this script on only weekends? Someone did. It's terrifying though, because never at any point have we seen Mac dance. At any point has he showed he's got any sort of rhythm, but for some reason, as soon as he gets in that teddy bear, he can't stop himself. He just can't stop dancing.
It's the power of Coca-Cola and McDonald's. Gives you the power of dance, which we're leading into.
When does the jogging montage come across? Because there's a bit where they're jogging, Mac is basically they shoehorn in like a song over a jogging montage.
Yeah, I think this was a little bit earlier. Yeah.
Okay, that was a little earlier. I think we just jumped the gun because of the whole thing. But okay. So rewind slightly. Okay. We need to explain this. Number one, it's got this tune over it, which is so out of place.
Well, that's the thing. Basically, he's in that little car. I don't need to play a little car clip, but he ends up in a tree.
Yes.
And they start this song when he's up in the tree, and then it cuts to a montage of Eric and the mum jogging around the neighbourhood, but they've got no decent footage to put over this music.
Yeah.
And is it when the dogs are chasing Mac in the little car as well?
Yeah. So at this point, this is what's happening. So before Debbie picks up Eric and the mum are jogging. They're doing like that. Well, she's jogging and he's following around in a wheelchair. We have to make that clear. And then Mac appears out of nowhere in one of, because we've seen clips of this throughout the film. Like, I'm not sure if it's foreshadowing, but it's close to, where these little bratty kids have these giant tiny cars kind of thing, you know. And for some fucking reason, little Mac, again, being a little dick, steals one, drives down the road, nearly gets run over by Debbie's mum, right? And all the dogs just start chasing after it. The car goes nearly off a cliff. He jumps, gets hung in a tree, and then that's where we leave him for a running montage with a power ballad.
I'll play the clip anyway, because we've talked about it now.
Do it.
What is that? Don't hit him! What is it, crazy or something?
I can't remember how that scene happens. I just know that it happens.
No, novice.
Here's the thing, though. This is what I'm having trouble with this movie slightly, because I'm trying to figure out, do the filmmakers think that the little Mac doing these shenanigans is charming, or literally a hazard to society? Because I do not know where this falls.
I don't know. It doesn't make Mac likable at all.
No. I think they're trying to force the audience to try and feel that they're endeared by him and that they like him for whatever reason. Because essentially, they probably want to sell toys and loads of merchandise of Mac because everyone loves Mac. Like, essentially, what they were trying to do is the Baby Yoda effect, which obviously went well in 2019, 2020.
Yeah,
they were absolutely aiming for that. Clearly. But so far off the mark, it is actually kind of ridiculous.
This then leads into the McDonald's scene. So we've already mentioned it now. So we have this weird moment. Then it leads into the McDonald's scene. Now, oh boy. Let's talk about this.
The moment they arrive, right, as soon as they arrive in the car park, you've got this.
There are a bunch of breakdancers in the middle of the McDonald's car park.
It's so exciting. Like, this makes McDonald's seem like the best thing ever.
Come to McDonald's. There's constant dancing.
It basically makes it sound like McDonald's is the place to be. We're hip. We're down with the kids. We got breakdancers.
And it's a proper organised, choreographed routine in the parking lot, isn't it? It's fantastic.
Now, here's the thing that Ben teased. In that little sequence, Jennifer Aniston has a cameo in it, very briefly.
Really?
Yes, Jennifer Aniston's in this movie uncredited for a couple of seconds. She is sitting on the curb watching the dances happening in the car park.
Oh, fantastic.
And join in. Just for, that's beyond me.
Nah, this would have been one of her. This would have been like one of her first roles properly. Then basically, it's uncredited. It's only a cameo, so it doesn't really count because everyone knows that her first starring role is Leprechaun, which we are doing on the trash tapes at some point. We have to do either Leprechaun or Leprechaun Goes to the Hood. It's one or the other.
So it seems like McDonald's in the 80s were very kind of like dance focused, weren't they? Because if you listen to this commercial from the 80s from McDonald's.
Quarter pound of beef on the hot side. And the hot stays hot. The new McDLT. Crisp lettuce and tomato on the cool side. And the cool stays cool. The new McDLT. Cool crisp. The beef
my God.
stays crisp.
Cool crisp.
You can't leave
Quarter pound of beef.
The 80s jingles are the best.
McDLT.
Oh my God.
Cool crisp LT.
I don't know what to think.
Right,
okay.
I just had to play that because that's the energy of inside the McDonald's. And
it is.
You get the there's like a dance contest going on in McDonald's.
When has there ever been a dance contest in McDonald's? Tell me a McDonald's that has, oi, let's go and do a boogie. I've never seen this before.
And the FBI guys that are hunting them down are kind of come into McDonald's, but Matt kind of creates a distraction and gets up on the counter and starts dancing, and it sounds like this.
So, at this moment,
the staff are dancing as well.
Everyone is dancing. There is a fucking American football team there dancing.
There's like three of the Redskins there dancing.
Yeah, everyone's dancing for some reason. And also, in time, choreography, everyone's like doing the feet stuff. Everyone's doing this. Now, let me explain. This is basically now, by that point, a 5-minute music video / commercial for McDonald's, right? Before the proper dance-off happens, everyone's seeing this giant teddy bear, and it's very weird because the teddy bear is like, literally using the big arm again to steal a Coke, which is one of my favorite bits, because he goes and steals a Coke, and there's 2 black kids right over it, and one of the kids just has his mouth drop like this. And it's just like, what is this? And then everyone just seems to go along with the idea that this toy is a robot. They just go along with it.
It's horrific.
No one's questioning it.
It's way too big. It's like 10 feet tall when it stood on top of the counter. Mac is tiny. Why is it like? It's just.
I know. It moves
baffling.
like it's definitely just a child actor dancing around in a suit, and it looks like that. It doesn't look like it would be Mac at all.
It's less terrifying if it had teddy bear eyes, but the fact it's got those horrible Mac eyes cut out of the teddy bear, staring through out into the world, it is just utterly horrific. This whole scene just kind of makes me genuinely feel sick. There's something about it. Everyone's got a shit-eating grin on their face. Yeah. And I just think, give me more nuggets and let me get out of here. Imagine walking into that as somebody who just wanted to go in and grab something quickly or go in and actually sit down and enjoy a meal quietly.
Slowly step your way back.
Can you believe? You just be like, I'm out of here, mate. Burger King it is. Go, Han. I'm on my way to Burger King.
Funny thing is, like, Ben, my view of that is like the opposite. It's like, this is my rose-tinted specs version of my memory of McDonald's. I basically remember McDonald's back in the day like this. It wasn't like this, but I remember it like that. because of this movie.
You go into McDonald's and you go, why aren't you dancing? Why aren't you bloody dancing? Get up on this counter. Come on. What do you want? What do you want? What is it? I want a quarter pound of beef, fresh.
Oh my God. Imagine. Yeah, this is what we think. That's nostalgia goggles going in. Imagine like back as a kid going, McDonald's was always like this. Like, hell no, it wasn't like this. It's terrifying if it was. So Mac escapes by literally crowd surfing over the dancers, which is brilliant. And then basically, Eric and Mac are now trying to outrun the FBI guys and everyone else in a scene that's clearly trying to rip off E.T., right? So you have Eric's in the wheelchair. Little Mac is sitting on him, and they go down the hill being chased. And the thing is, no one at this moment really ever decides to sit down and go, "Oi, let's get in the car and just outrun this thing." No, they just start running, just down this hill,
running. But everyone looks terrifying. Every guy is like, I'm gonna kill you.
Is this the bit where like Eric's in his wheelchair on the road and he grabs onto the back of a truck and it's like Back to the Future, when he's actually skitching on the truck, and the music, because it's the same composer, is a bit like Back to the Future, because it's like this.
My God, it is. It sounds just like
magical.
it.
If you close your eyes, you might be able to enjoy it. No, probably not, but you know.
No, you can't, because now you're thinking McDonald's now.
I think, he's a composer that you can hear little motifs, can't you? Now and again of his work, and you can even hear a bit of Back to the Future and Predator. It's weird.
A little bit. But yeah, point being is, so this is the scene where it goes back to the truck. At one point, it goes into Sears. This is the other advertisement. And it goes into Sears and has a bit of a chase in the Sears where they're trying to outrun the FBI. The mum now gets involved because obviously she works there, and just seeing chaos reign as this wheelchair bound kid with a weird alien squishy puppet is just running around the shopping mall like a maniac.
But by this point, they've kind of figured out what Mac's trying to tell them, haven't they? And they're in terms of where his parents are. So that's kind of how they're trying to get there.
Yeah, around this point then, basically, the older brother, the sister, and Debbie are now in the truck, and they pick up. And they literally drive now next to him and literally just pick him up and just put him into the car.
Yeah, dead easy, like he's dead light. Like one arm, just pick him out off the road in the wheelchair and put him in the van.
And then in the van. Get in here.
Have you got a ramp for that van? No, get him in. Sling him in the back.
Get in the van. And so they get in the van. And at this point, right, this is when they discuss they're trying to say something. They don't know where the thing is. And that's when they discover, because there's loads of little hints in the house beforehand of it's like a Wix sort of thing. And then there's also things like horse races and a whole bunch of weird stuff going on. They're very abstract clues. But then, do you want to?
Yeah. Oh, well, because Ben mentioned earlier, there's like the Coke can, and there's like daisies in the Coke can, which is supposed to be, that's a clue of the windmills later on where his parents are, isn't it?
Yeah,
all those windmills are a bit like daisies.
But that's the point, is it's so abstract that it is a fucking leap that anyone was able to cure
kind of Andy
this.
Warhol shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's abstract art.
I think I understand this. Are you Rain Man?
It's so abstract, and there's no way you can understand it. So he's ended up driving, and little Mac's pointing at a sign, and it's not the place, it's the sign, and it's saying he's almost saying go there, go to the thing, and so they go into the middle of the fucking desert.
Because he saw a flyer or something that was the same as the billboard, didn't he? /sign.
Yeah.
And he pointed at it, and people were I'm surprised that wasn't like a real company as well that they'd thrown in there. Was it? I don't remember what it was.
I can't remember off the top of my head. But then again, I was already so washed by McDonald's. I now believe no other company exists.
I think when they're in the car at this point, is that the Skittles bit as well, where they just give him some Skittles?
Yeah, they do. Because they don't have any more Coca-Cola. So they think like, well, let's give him some Skittles because it's sugary. So, yeah. So they feed him Skittles. They feed him Coca-Cola. They're trying to get the thing across. They put him in a T-shirt for some reason now. They put him in a T-shirt. And then they drive into the desert, past the windmills, into a cave. This, again, leaps in logic. Leaps in logic.
How did the other aliens get out of the place at the start?
I don't know.
The NASA. Well,
we never find out. We never find out why they got into that cave.
Yeah,
wandering out like a bunch of idiots. Because we see
they're
them
kind of in a mine,
in...
aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the family's wandered off somewhere. They end up in a mine and they're dying. Okay, so everyone goes into the mine and they find the family just sort of passed out, like they're on the verge of death. So you got Mac Daddy, Mama Mac, and Sister Mac. Oh my god,
Medium Mac.
Medium Mac.
Return of the Mac.
The dad is an absolute liability. And we'll get into that with the final finale.
Oh, he's such a knobhead.
He is a liability.
Now we know where little Mac gets his tendencies from. He gets it from the Papa. He gets it from Papa Mac. So everyone's lying down, and so they all find him, and obviously they still have some. They realize that Coca-Cola is the elixir of life. So they
because they stopped at a rest stop, didn't they, to get more Coke? I remember that's how they got Coke by this point.
Yeah, they stopped. They got more Coca-Cola and all sugary stuff. They end up going into the thing. They give them more Coca-Cola, and then they're almost sitting there going like, right, well, and this is where the whole family now becomes rejuvenated and alive, and everyone's like, oh, and this is supposed to be a touching moment between Little Mac and the rest of the family because they're finally reunited. I laughed. I just laughed because they're all just looking at each other.
It's kind of dangerous showing Coca-Cola to have regenerative effects on whoever in any movie, but especially a movie aimed at children, because kids are going to go home and go, oh, bloody hell. So I've fallen over and scratched my knee. I'll just neck 3 cans of Coke. I'll be fine. It works.
It's evil. That's why I think that Coke is more evil than McDonald's in terms of like the sponsorship in this movie. It's Coke is so the ego of Coke in this movie is incredible. That's why I have to play that 80s advert. It's just
this, like I said, this is basically the corporation, the movie. These guys in suits just cackling away in their boardroom, going, "Soon, children will be drinking nothing but Coca-Cola and having Big Macs forever. We shall be rich." That's literally the tone.
Kind of like the aliens in The Simpsons. Kind of picture them like that a bit.
Oh, 100%. What, like Krang and Konos? Yes, they are. Just that. So the whole family's now they've been revived by Coca-Cola, and so now they're trying to figure out what the hell to do, or they're trying to find something to do because they're saying, well, what are we going to do with these guys?
They have no plan. Johan. They're just kind of wandering around and driving around. What are we going to do with them? I don't know.
They literally do at one point. Everyone's all squished in the van. They're all driving along and they're just driving. There's no direction. They're thinking, we can't take them to the government. And at one point, I think the older sister's saying, well, why can't we just call your mother? And at one point, why don't you call your mother? Saying, no, we can't. They won't believe us. And they even says like, well, maybe they need to be returned. We don't know what it is. And they're having this whole debate, but it's nothing. They don't know what it is. It's an absolute wreck.
And the dad is being a right pest, isn't he? He turns a tire iron he ties a tire iron in a knot. He's stealing everyone's caps and stuff.
Doesn't he steal a can of Coke from like a woman driving alongside as well? He smashes the window.
Yes.
Idiot. Well, I don't want to ruin anything, but sorry, spoiler.
Well, look, we're actually near the end now, which is the thing. Thank God. I feel like we've been talking about this forever. But right, we're near the end now. We're basically by this point, they're all driving along with no direction. And they end up at a gas station because they need more supplies, basically more Coca-Cola. And so they basically stop by a supermarket or some kind of thing. They're going to get more supplies. And so they say right, we have to leave them here. You keep an eye on them. We need to go and do the shit, right? And obviously this backfires terribly because obviously anyone who drives next to them will see fucking aliens in the back seat.
I know. And eventually, the family like get out of the car and just wander into the supermarket, and they're just wandering around, like having a casual shop where everyone is staring at them. And they call security, don't they? And the security guard comes over, and the Mac Daddy just creeps up on the security guy and like just steals his gun. I've got a clip of that.
Go for it.
You stand back now. I'm warning you.
No, they don't understand you.
He's telling the truth.
Tell him to back off.
No. Give me the gun.
It's so
Does he pull the
scary.
trigger? Does the alien pull the trigger?
Yeah, he just fires it randomly. He's holding the gun really odd, and he just kind of fires a random stray bullet.
Absolute idiot. Liability. Idiot.
The worst. He's the worst. So yeah, at this point, it causes chaos. Really. So the dad is holding a gun. Mac Daddy's holding a gun. Everyone thinks of liability. Everyone is trying to protect him, saying, no, you've got to get out of here. And then all the coppers turn up, all the security and some extra coppers and the FBI all turn up, right? And this then leads into what's quite literally a fucking shootout with shotguns and everything trying to shoot the fucking thing. Right?
Yeah, this is like from another movie. This whole sequence is
It is an action movie, isn't it, at this point?
Yeah.
It's a very much a big tone shift, and basically Eric just says, I can help out, and there's a clip here.
I can stop him. Let me go out there, please.
I can't let you do that, son. He's got a gun. We're gonna lose him, Bill.
They don't know how to drive anyway.
Stop him.
So he goes in, I'm going to help.
Shootout.
Who shoots him?
Fucking explosion! Huge explosion, by the way. Humongous.
Now, does the explosion kill Eric, or is it a stray bullet?
No, this is the thing. I have to explain this. So,
okay, go.
All right, so in the Japanese VHS, we actually see what happens to the kid. So,
okay.
So in all versions, this is cut out. So it makes it look like the explosion killed him. But no. So at one point, Eric is in the wheelchair. And in the Japanese version, and there's a video. There's a video of this somewhere, obviously. So what it does, okay, is when Eric is running, right, the reason why the shootout happens, okay, is because one of the coppers is trying to go after Eric. He trips. And when he trips, he shoots the gun, and then you actually see a shot of Eric actually getting shot by that bullet. And then by that, it causes a shootout. So
oh my God.
So Eric is actually shot by accident by a copper. This then leads to a shootout because then the dad hit the Mac Daddy hears it. He shoots, and then all the coppers shoot. And then it leads to a fuck-off explosion. So the kid's already dead. The kid's already dead by a bullet before the explosion happens. That's why you see his body just laid out like this. Because he was already shot.
I found it on YouTube, and it is pretty brutal. He's just riding towards it, and bang, right in his chest. Oh, it's horrific. Who on earth greenlit that?
Well,
what is going on?
Well, this is the thing, right? That scene, the shooting of Eric was explicitly shown in the Japanese VHS. However, it was edited because on a test screening, apparently this movie was test screened, my God, there was a negative reaction to that. Well, it's like, well,
yeah.
Well, duh. The kid gets shot. The kid gets killed by accident by a copper.
I mean, it's even dark without that shot. It's even dark the way it is, like in like the normal version, like because it's a massive tone shift for the kid to be killed by what looks like an explosion in the regular edit.
Yeah, someone watched it. What's his name? RJ, the producer. You watched E.T. He's like, E.T. was all right, but I'd love it if Elliot just got shot in the chest. If that wouldn't make it for me. If Elliot just got bang dead, it would just make it cover all bases.
With fire behind it from an explosion.
Obviously, they get to the point, they realize Eric is dying or dead. Well, dead, really. Eric's dead. Let's not lie about it. Eric got fucking owned, right? So Eric got owned, and then everyone's running after him, trying to get him, and say, "Oh no, he's dying! Oh no, he's dying! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! It's the worst!" And so, by this point, the whole family seemed to be flame something. Like they must be able to survive flames. They must be able to survive heat or something, because they all just walk out in a very spooky silhouette. The whole sort of fake family, the whole alien family, walk out of the spooky silhouette and reveal themselves. And so they end up doing some kind of prayer circle over Eric.
Yeah, it's mainly the dad that's taking charge, isn't it, in that section? So he actually does something useful for a change, and he kind of leads like a healing kind of circle to rejuvenate Eric back and bring him back to life, which works, thankfully. He's just been brutally shot and in an explosion.
It's terrible. But here's the thing, though, even more so if you think about it. It's like saying, so, in other words, Deus Ex Machina, because, again, never explained that they had healing powers like this, ever, until now.
No, just destructive powers, by the look of it, before this point.
And now, obviously, here's the thing. And so... Oh my God. And so by this point, Eric is saved. Whoop-de-doo. And then we do a very quick, very random cut. I'm not sure if... So sometime later into the future, obviously the Mac family, we have to call them the Mac family, I've now been living on Earth for quite some time. And they now have been, this is great, they're all in a giant courtroom or something. I don't know what it is. And so they're all in there, and they're all dressed in human clothes, which is fucking hilarious. Like, it's...
And basically, they're just accepted as US citizens. And they're all dressed, but why are they all dressed like they're from the 50s? And basically, when they ride off in a pink Cadillac as well.
And there's no way Mac Daddy is going to pass his driving test. He is a liability. He's not going to take basic instructions. There's no way ever that he's ever going to be able to drive. Sorry.
Now, here's the thing. At the very, very end, you probably noticed there was a giant speech bubble saying, "We'll be back."
Yes.
Yeah.
There was genuinely plans for a sequel.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
So a sequel was announced at around the same time for Mac and Me. So once the movie went out, they said there's already a sequel in the works, right? Well, at least they were announcing it. Obviously, because of how horrible it failed and the unpopularity of the movie, it never happened. But producer R.J. Lewis actually spoke at the end of 2017. All right. Oh, so he's still alive doing his thing. He said he did not rule out the possibility of a sequel. He claimed that because of the public interest of this, and at the same time because it's now become an infamous bad film, there may actually be a possibility of a sequel to this movie.
Didn't he actually say, "Well, it's been quite profitable on video"? He's still sort of bigging it up.
Yeah, so basically he said that the movie was very profitable on VHS and made profit for Orion Pictures. It made profit for them. So they said, well, you know what? We could do this for a new, young, movie-going generation. Fuck. I wonder which kind of publicity is going to be this time. It's going to be McDonald's. It's going to be what else is new? Oh my God. And that's literally how the movie ends. The movie ends just like that, really fucking quickly and haphazardly, with them driving off into the sunset. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we put this pile of rotten McDonald's into the trashometer.
Trashometer.
Thank you very much. So, if this is the first time you're listening, welcome. But welcome. And so we just to say we review our movies a little bit differently around here. We don't do 5 stars or do like an A ranking. No, we do this using the Trashometer, where we break things down into 5 different categories. So, we have Tame. Tame is at the very, very bottom. Basically means the movie was boring. It wasn't really that fun. Wasn't that entertaining. It's just dull, really. Then you got Tiny Bit Trashy, where you got some of those trashy elements, and it's there, and we're having a bit of fun with it, but it's just not hitting a special place in our hearts. Trash is the perfect spot. It's the golden egg. It is the perfect cuisine. It is the 5-star cuisine of trash, right? You then go into too trashy. Too trashy is when we're having fun with it, but there's also moments we're getting quite frustrated with it. We're starting to get annoyed at it. And then it is torture. Torture is we did not have fun with this. This has become a nightmare. It has been an absolute slog to get through. We have not enjoyed this at all. And so, gentlemen, where would you put this on the Trashometer? Ben, since you're the guest, where would you put this on the Trashometer?
Oh, God. I mean, it's hard to say, isn't it? It's hard to say because it seems to just cover so many things, and it's just kind of... I wouldn't say it's tough to get through. I don't know, maybe it was kind of tough to get... It feels a little bit longer than it needs to be. It's like an hour and 40. I feel like if it had 15 minutes of that knocked off, I know an hour and 25 is not... It's still pretty short for a movie.
It's still pretty long for this movie. But,
it's still pretty long for this movie. If it lost about 15 minutes, sorry, remind me of the Trashometer things again. It's the...
So we've got tame being boring, tiny bit trashy, trash, too trashy, torture.
Oh. You know what? I think because of all the product placement and the fact that Mac as a character there's absolutely nothing endearing about him at all. That's the thing that bothers me the most, is that he's just a knobhead with he's just knocking about, he's cutting about like a little dickhead, making everyone's life more difficult. And I think this film is trying so hard to just enforce this family movie on us that it's trying to even the music, the score and the music cues are trying so hard to make us feel something. And that kind of bothers me more than anything else, is when a film is trying to force me to feel something. It's like, just let me feel what I'm going to feel, all right? Don't make me do anything. And that, paired with the fact it's also trying to force Coca-Cola and McDonald's onto you, it almost doesn't feel like a film experience anymore. It feels like the movie equivalent of somebody knocking on your door trying to sell you something when you're like in the middle of, I don't know, baking a cake. Because you're like, I'm busy here, I'm trying to live my life, and you're turning up, trying to sell me something I don't want, I don't need, and you're forcing it upon me, and it won't go away. That's what this film feels like. So, for that, I don't think it's torture, but I think it is pretty close to torture, so I think I'd put it at the very top of the too trashy.
Yeah.
I think I would, yeah, just because of that.
Right. Ed, what do you think?
I hate this film. I hate even though I've had fun with it and I've had talking about it, you could probably hear earlier, and I did tease that my ranking was probably going to be high. I get it. This movie does make me angry, and a lot of the time it's for the reasons Ben has already said, but as well, on top of that, is the fact that I love E.T. and I hate the fact that it's just copying everything of E.T. and it really, really makes me angry. And not only am I going to rate it like torture, but I'm also going to give it this. Which is the burp approval. The giant burp. That is for the worst films. But I suppose it's weird because it's not higher than Street Fighter, but it is, I think, the low end of torture. So like 90% trash, so like low end of torture for me.
All right. And you know what? Just because you are so passionate about this, Ed, I've never seen you so angry at a review before. I've never seen you this angry, because all the other ones, you're kind of a mellow yellow. I'm the one who gets pissed off. I'm the one who gets really angry. I'm the one who's ranting and raving.
Yeah.
But this is it. And you know what? I would agree. I would agree that it's basically on a borderline between too trashy and torture, right? And I'm going to go, because of your genuine passion for this, Ed, we're going to put this in torture. We're going to put this on the low end of torture. This movie for me was this movie was an experience. Now, look, there are some bits I laughed my ass off. I'm not going to lie. I still laugh at the cliff. I still laugh at the moment with the fucking dance off in McDonald's. I love the stupid alien stuff. I love all that. But looking back at this is it's overload. It's overload of product placement, and it's made me feel genuinely uncomfortable. Like you, Ben, you must be sitting there going, I feel dirty watching this. I feel like I need a shower. and it's not even like a sexy movie. You know what I'm talking about? Like sometimes when you watch when you watch a dirty movie, like a dirty, filthy sex movie, you're like, ugh, I feel gross. No, this is not like torture porn or like really hardcore pornography, but this feels like pornography. This is product placement advertising porn, and this is just not working it, mate. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a while since we had a torture. So, ladies and gentlemen, on the Trashometer, Mac and me is torture.
All the way up there to the top.
Right at the top.
Wow. Part
That
of it, I'm
was-
kind of annoyed at myself, like, for enjoying it as a kid. I kind of, yeah.
Do you feel retroactively?
That comes into it, yeah.
Do you feel like retroactively you wish you can go back and slap yourself in the face and go like,
Go back and say, what are you doing enjoying this? And I'm sat there with a can of Coke going, what?
It's like, you are part of the problem! You are part of the problem!
You know what I think it is? I think it's because as a kid, those things it's promoting, we love those things. So we're happy just seeing all those things on screen. Yeah, I love Skittles. I love Coca Cola. I love McDonald's.
We can't identify product placement. We kind of just see stuff that we enjoy and we think's cool. And we go, oh, wow, that's in this. Amazing. We can't identify that as kids. The fact that it's blatant product placement. So in a way, they're taking advantage of us.
And I feel abused.
Thank you. Just to say thank you guys also very much for listening. We have just gone through Mac and me, oh boy. And now this is the time that we do our plugins. So basically, where we have anything going on, we will just go and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Ben, what's been going on with you? What do you want to plug?
Well, I guess I'll plug the Horror Hangout podcast. We've obviously done a crossover episode before, which is lovely. But yeah, we do something. We review good films and bad films, and we try and cover as many genres and as many eras of horror movies as possible. We do have new episodes every Wednesday. We have a variety of guests. And it's a good time. We don't take it too seriously. We had Ed on recently to discuss American Psycho, and Johan, we're going to have you on soon to discuss I don't think we've decided what we're going to discuss just yet, have we? But
let's keep that a secret. I think
keep it a secret. Yeah, keep it a secret. So if you enjoy something like, if you obviously enjoy the Trash Tapes, you might enjoy Horror Hangout as well, because it's got a similar sort of vibe. Just guys doing the shit, tearing apart movies that are bad, and just enjoying movies that are good. You guys ever do that?
Well, anytime we enjoy actual good movies is usually just in private now.
Oh yeah, in private. Yeah, I do like films, honestly, but
it almost sometimes, because we do this podcast, we're just like, do we just watch bad movies? Like, not all the time. We watch good movies too. We go to the cinema when we can.
Well,
we try.
Exactly.
We talk about them on the main YouTube channel, don't we? So they're good ones.
This is true. Which is what we've been doing at the minute, because we had quite a bit of a buzz going on the YouTube channels, and quite a bit in Bob's doing that. Like, for example, on the Enigmatic Productions, we've got Ed, you've put in quite a few videos, especially talking about your VHS collection.
Yeah, so I've started doing pickup videos for my VHS collection, and the first one I did recently was like I basically did a video of like two tapes that someone had sort of sent to me. So it's like now I'm actually be able to like do videos where fans have watched my show and like the stuff that we do, and they've just basically sent me stuff to show off. Like, well, actually, the guy didn't do it with the intention of me making a video about it. He just likes the stuff that we do and thought, have these videotapes. So I did a video about those two tapes, which is a kind of superhero special. It's kind of like Batman Forever and the Captain America cartoon from 1966.
Nice.
So I just show off the video. It's not like a full review. It's like a show off the pickups, talk about him. And for the first time, I kind of introduced like bloopers into that video, because like I thought, if they're funny, I'm going to keep them in, because I've seen a lot of YouTubers. Laura Legends is an example, and she just keeps her bloopers in, and they're hilarious. I thought, I'll try that, and it really did work, because got a lot of comments instantly on the YouTube page about those blooper bits, and it was just hilarious. So I'm going to definitely stick to that going forward. Do like, just if it's funny, keeping it in.
Basically, I mean, this is what we do on the Trash Tapes anyway. There's so much bullshit that happens on the Trash Tapes.
This is one big blooper.
It's just a bunch of us slowly having a mental breakdown more than anything else. But yeah, looking into the other channels as well, the Trash Tapes has been going all right in a minute. We've now reached over 100 subs on the YouTube channel, which is quite fun. But we're slowly going to transform that. We're going to transform that into uploading all of our old episodes up onto there pretty soon. We're going to do that fairly soon, and then just basically just put the podcast right there and then as soon as it kind of gets ready to launch out, because we've been asked a lot of times saying, hey, where's your podcast? And sometimes people just listen to podcasts on YouTube now, don't they? So we really should be giving them an option to listen to it there and then.
Yeah, definitely. And it's because it's quite, because of the volume of stuff we put out, it's hard to make a lot of videos for Trash Tapes as well as videos for the other channels. So we need to kind of put the podcasts on the Trash Tapes channel, even the new ones. We just kind of you give that option, like you say. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously we've got Enigmatic Play, where Greg and I have been streaming as per usual. Greg, as time of recording, Greg's going to have sort of a new series where on Sunday he's going to play Apex Legends but be absolutely drunk while doing it, which sounds absolutely hilarious. I can't wait.
Yeah, he said
that.
it's like a drinking game of some sorts. So I don't know when that's going to trigger when he has a drink, but it's going to be interesting. It sounds hilarious.
Yeah, and then again, it's just been a lot of fun doing this stuff recently, and we're hoping to get more stuff out there. So yeah, there we go. Wonderful. Well, Ben, can I just say you've been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so sorry I had to put you through this. I'm so sorry.
It's all good, man. I think I kind of needed it. I needed to come to terms with it myself after enjoying it as a child. So I think this is like therapy for me in a way. I needed to face up.
Has this been a spiritual experience? Has this been like a revolution kind of thing?
Don't know if I'd say spiritual.
It was something that moved me. I don't think it moved me.
It moved me from away from the TV to a different room, but.
I suppose it's interesting though for you. It's refreshing to I say refreshing, but like for you to do a different genre film, because you talk about horror films all the time. And
well, this has been a horror movie in its own right.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's true, because obviously I talk about horror films week in, week out. But as a movie fan, I enjoy loads and loads of different genres. So probably a bit refreshing to be able to do that. Just a shame it was this film, I guess.
I'm so sorry, but again, thank you so very much for being our guest in the Trash Tapes
Thank
Tavern.
You guys both. I've enjoyed myself.
I'm glad someone did. I'm glad someone's enjoyed themselves. And on that note, we'll be wrapping up. So until next time, keep an eye on your trash. There might be some treasure in there. See you guys next time.
See you guys. I'm off to McDonald's.
Bye.